On this week's weekly video fishing forecast, I'll show off my go-to lures for targeting big fish on the beach during the fall run. I also have the latest on the surf action. We also have a preview on the November issue that pays tribute to Fred Galafaro through the years at the magazine. And our correspondents check in from around the island over here at thefisherman.com.
The Fishing News is sponsored by these fine partners.
Tough week of weather that will for sure shake up things for the weekend. Friday at noon is the start of the South Shore Surf Fishing Classic. The entry fee is $20 and you can register at Capt Bait and Tackle. The awards ceremony is Sunday at 12:30 p.m. For all info, call 631-231-3510. Then Election Day is the Big Riverview Bass Tournament. Cash prizes for the heaviest slot bass will be awarded. There will be a dinner after the weigh-in, and you can call Jimmy Hahn at 631-589-2694 for all the details. Now let's check in with News 12 meteorologist Rich Von Ohlen to see if the weather will cooperate. Rich?
Hey, thanks, Matt. Let's check that weekend forecast. Before we do, got a fishing report for you. It was out last week. Took my buddies Nick and Nick, father and son, out, and we had a real good time. Went in the ocean first. It was very quiet. Couldn't get much going there, so we came back in the bays, Reynolds Channel, and did some plugging along the marshes, and did okay. Some schoolie bass on topwater plugs, anywhere between 20 and 27 inches. Nice fish, even a double header there for father and son. They had a great time. And yours truly had a couple too on the plug, top water. So always a good, alternative plan if the ocean doesn't work out. Come back in the back bays and you may find some success there. All right, water temps forecast. You can always check your favorite apps, favorite websites, whatever tools you have. This is a general overview on the upcoming weekend. And right now the overview does not look too great. Water temps came down, 60s, cooling off with the nor'easter we had during the week. And another coastal kind of storm here for Saturday. Easterly breeze is going to be up there, riling up the ocean. A lot of red on there, 8 to 12s, 4 to 8s inshore. The sound will be kind of choppy too. Saturday afternoon, slowly settling down. Still some storminess and still some rough water there. Maybe Sunday with a light southwest breeze. You might be able to get out there, but watch the swells. There'll still be some leftover rollers there coming into the inlets. A lot of green on the screen. This is some rain for Saturday, easterly breeze. 15 to 25. It's not going to be that nice. Saturday night, it gets a little better. Sunday morning, it looks like we're going to settle down a bit. There's still some showers in there, but the southwest breeze will be about 5 to 10. It's just the swells will be out there. Maybe we get lucky. We can save Sunday as maybe a fishable day, certainly in the bay, perhaps the ocean. High tide Saturday, around 7 a.m. or so. North Shore, about 3, 4 a.m. on the South Shore. 60s, kind of a cool day Saturday. Same thing coming up for Sunday. Let's check out that Guru. See what we got. Confirming Saturday. Yeah, a lot of east in there. Pretty big waves in there. Gusty breeze and some rain. Sunday looks a little better. Again, light south, southwest, calming down a little bit. And the waves, they'll still be out there about 3 to 5 feet, but again, mainly what looks like some swells. So either way, be safe. Have a great weekend. Catch them up. Matt, back to you.
The November magazine is out now, and this is a bittersweet issue. We have a retrospect of senior editor Fred Galafaro's life through staff, family, and friends. You all know Mike Dean by now, and he has a great piece on the fall run as well. And you can check out my read on the top lures that work in the wash, in the surf, all in the November issue of the Fisherman magazine. Now let's check in with Captain Timothy O'Rourke from Montauk. Tim.
Thank you, Matt. Well, greetings everybody from Montauk. The fishing's starting to kind of slow down due to the weather. As everybody knows, we've had a lot of weather over the last couple weekends. This week's been pretty brutal. Last weekend was still a little bumpy, but people were able to get out and do some fishing. In the light tackle and fly fishing department, I had a bunch of kids on the boat over the weekend. They did really well catching striped bass. The false albacore are a little bit more hit and miss. Surf report, still plenty of action going on the north side of the lighthouse. Guys catching some fish in the surf on the south side. Didn't really see so much of the spectacular blitzing bass this past week as we've seen like in the weeks past. In regards to the charter boats, guys are still picking away at some nice slot bass out in the rips, and the big story is blackfish had opened up last week. So I've got some nice reports. Kenny Hadachek on the My Joyce did really well on blackfish. I've got some pictures of that. I had another report of a couple guys who tried to go cod fishing south and east of Montauk, and unfortunately they got nothing but dogfish. So The week before, they did really good on the codfish and some really big sea bass, but this past weekend, it was just all dogfish. So that's probably going to be the case over the next week or so after this northeast wind, and then hopefully everything will settle back down. All right, Matt, back to you. Thank you.
It was an interesting week in the surf. Starting in the east at Montauk, high surf and winds pushed a lot of fish into the north and south side of the point. The conditions were tough, but for those casters who made the effort, plenty of fish from schoolies to slots were around and cooperating. The North Fork of the island had another nice showing of albies close to Orient Point. Some bass were mixed in too, and tog fishermen were picking away at some quality fish up to 23 inches using green crabs in the same areas. The key is finding nearshore rocks. Over on the south shore, I got word of some large stripers caught again this week. Shinnecock, Smiths Point, and Robert Moses were all potentially good spots. The back bays of the Fire Island and West End area are surrendering weak fish still around docks and bridges. And on the western North Shore, I heard of some larger bluefish rolling in during the early mornings, with porgies and tog being caught from the shore too. It's been blowing hard these past few days, so let's see where the chips fall when it all settles. I hope some sand eels show up along the South Shore and prolong our fall run. Hey, Mike Dean, nice article in the Fisherman this month. What's going on from Shinnecock?
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Well, yeah, this weather's kind of putting us back to square one. Real nice stretch of quality over quantity fishing going on off the beach and by boat in the inlets and just outside of the inlets in terms of Shinnecock and Moriches. Last week, middle of the week, that I reported to you guys the previous report. I got a nice one off the open beach. Had a couple of other fish, not as big, but still pretty solid and entertaining fights. Checked the beach out today. Obviously, the water's pretty turned up, very brown in color. Went to a couple of back bay spots, and just where I had the wind at my back, and made a few casts. Didn't really get anything. The previous batch of weather we had coming into this storm. There have been some fish in the back bays kind of like, seeking shelter from the turbulent waters. So definitely worth checking that out this weekend. Looks like things should hopefully calm down by like Monday or Tuesday, wind-wise at least. And, and the rain that we're supposed to see over the weekend. And blackfish, haven't really had many reports with this weather, nobody getting out, but have to expect when things calm down and those reefs and wrecks not being fished for a bit should be piled up pretty good with fish. So get out there. And with the bait that I saw out there previous to the storm, bunker, peanut bunker, some mackerel as well, seems to also be a lot of smaller kind of rain bait enclosed in the wash. Hopefully we'll see some sand eels as well with these colder temps. So that should make November exciting. Speaking of November fishing, you can check out my article in the November issue of the Long Island edition of the Fisherman, available online, and kind of go through, past heartache and triumphs and kind of how I go after the month, and just that it's by far my favorite month of the year to fish. Not that I don't fish all the other months of the year. So check that out. Let me know what you think, how you did fishing, and I'll talk to you next week. Back to you, Matt.
With our fly and freshwater report, we have Paul McCain from River Bay Outfitters.
Hello, Matt. Well, here is, I really had high hopes for today. I ran a shop trip. We're up here on the Farmington River. I thought with this quality we'd have blue wing olives, but I didn't see any. And I'm actually up here getting ready for my steelhead trip using my two-handed rod. Just getting all practiced. I'm getting a lot of good casting, not catching anything. But there are fish that were caught, not very big, under 10 inches. But Dennis is up here and a bunch of other guys, they're staying over. Hopefully they're going to have more luck, and then hopefully they'll be sending me photographs, which you could post. As far as saltwater goes, saltwater's been really good in the back bays, according to Captain Frank. Captain Brian, he's also doing very well in the back bays, fishing around Atlantic Beach Bridge. There are fish to be had. We still have at least a month to go before this ends. Or you're going to do what I do and fish all winter long. So until next week, tie lines, everybody.
when you're presented with a situation in the surf, when you have big fish and small fish in front of you, and you're trying to weed out the big fish from the small fish, what I recommend is upping your plug size. Now, the statement, elephants do eat peanuts, is true, but in most cases, if you do up your plug size, you will weed out the small fish versus the big fish. Right here in front of me, I have some deep diving metal lips. One of them actually was sent to me by my coworker, New England editor, Dave Anderson. This is his metal lip deep diver right here. He sent me this metal lip in the spring. I didn't really get the chance to use it, although I wanted to, but the fall came around, and there's been some big fish around, there's been some small fish around. Now what I do is I put some BKK hooks on this plug, BKK Raptor in the front treble, single inline in the back. Plug casts great, it swims deep, it goes down to about 12 feet, it depends on how you tune it. Dave was telling me how you could tune the lip and get this plug to swim deeper or more shallow. I was fishing in some deep water next to a jetty, and when I cast this plug out, I could tell right away it dug deep. It mimicked the whole bunker, which is what these fish were feeding on and keyed in on. Now, the smaller fish couldn't take a whole bunker, but the larger fish that could take a whole bunker were more interested in this plug, and they were able to take this plug as opposed to the smaller fish. Now, I was targeting bigger fish, and putting this bigger plug on as opposed to a smaller mag darter or an SP minnow made a big difference, which got the big fish's attention, and they were able to actually grab a hold of this plug, and I was able to set the hook on and catch bigger fish compared to smaller fish. This is one example. There are other examples out there. Gibbs does make a metal lip as well that is large in size. On the extreme end of the spectrum, the GRS swimmer right here, which is a little bigger than Dave's metal lip, even though Dave's metal lip is pretty big. I mean, look at the size of that one right there. This is another fine example of a big plug that will attract big fish. Remember, when you want to weed out the small fish from the big fish, up your plug size. From the Fire Island in Great South Bay area, let's check in with Captain Al Lorenzetti.
Hey Matt, Captain Al here, Fire Island report. Basically a striped bass action, it's on. We had a nor'easter. It really kind of churned things up, got the water cooled down. And I think we're going to have a nice weekend here, the last weekend in October. I think there's going to be some fish caught. I heard a good body of fish moved into the inlet. People were catching them on jigs, on plugs, on bait, whatever. And the action was good right almost in the middle of that nor'easter during that little calm period we had. So I'm looking forward to the weekend. The weather's going to be a little tricky this weekend. Definitely the ocean looks like it's definitely out. It's going to be really big heave on. And next week looks like a really nice week weather coming up. And also blackfish in action is still pretty good as well around Fire Island. So that's about it for this week, Matt, and we'll talk to you next week.
Now let's get an update on the Dreamboat contest with Tim C. Smith.
Dreamboat standing shuffle as new entries continue to come in. Hendry Piacentino entered a 5.19 pound sea bass, which helped boost his total points to the #1 spot. Joseph Yam is in second place, Garrett Weir is in third place, and we have a new fourth place contestant, Michael Briggs. He's back on the board. We also saw a 26.4 pound mahi-mahi entered by Frank A. Shea, and a 7 pound tog weighed in by Rich Mastelorez. The Dreamboat Fishing Challenge is the Fisherman subscriber-only multi-species fishing competition with a chance to win a new Steigercraft center console powered by Yamaha, along with many other great prizes. Subscribe now to the Fisherman to be part of the action.
From Northport, we have Mark McGowan from Cow Harbor Bait and Tackle. What's going on, Mark?
Wow, this weather's really giving us a run for the money, right? Last week was a lot of wind, and then all of a sudden there was that ultimate break in the weather for an awesome full moon bite. Happened all over the island. If you were lucky enough to get on it, that is such a quality time. The blackfish have been biting hard. There's sea bass in the mix. False albacore are making a spotty show. They're in, they're out. They're false albacore. That's what they do, but they're around. I would be looking in that whole Smithtown Bay area if you were like someone really wanting to target false albacore. The striped bass and the bluefish is still around. Different areas kind of heat up on and off. The river was like super red hot. I know there was somebody who got pulled out of the water. You drop in that river on a full moon in between the middle of the tide, you're looking at like an easy 8 to 10 knot current, and there's no way you're gonna like swim against that. So You know, listen, if you're fishing on some of these areas, like, you know, down in the breach there, the old new inlet, you know, they're shifting sands and people don't know. You go there for the first time, some of these spots in the dark, you can really like get yourself in trouble. Get there, make sure you got the buddy system. Do a little recon, you know, get there, look at these places in the dark. Same thing with the jetties. The jetties is a hot bite. Here in our place locally, and some of these bouldery, rocky areas, it was like a hot bite. We've got a mix of, as I said, the bass and the bluefish. But what's really cool is that opportunity to get some of the shallow water blackfish, you know, hookups. Fishing from the beach, there's some areas, you know, it's very selective up here. It's hard. It's not like the North Fork, you know, where you've got like awesome spots. But over here, if you're willing to walk along the beach, you're going to find these little rocky areas where definitely blackfish are sitting there. Fish jigs, you know, a sinker, single hook works too. Green crab works just as good as Asians, but that's, you know, everybody's own choice of bait, so that's up to you. I would definitely get out there and try it up. Right now, it's kind of a crappy weather, you know. We've got these two fronts came through, so I don't know what it's going to do to the bite. I know that for us, it's going to mean a lot of these harbors, a lot of these marshy creeks are going to have a high salinity area, so that might change the bite. Maybe it's going to drive the fish deeper. I don't know. Let's see what happens. If you're one of those people that you store your crabs and everything, this is one of those weeks where you want to keep them at least 2 feet under the surface rather than in a floating tank, because the salinity can kill those crabs depending on where you're located. Particularly for us on the North Shore, salinity level can go up very quickly in the back of the harbors because of all the water that just drains out of the streets and whatnot. It fills up our areas. Look for a lot of debris. If you're on a boat, I would definitely recommend keeping your eyes peeled for like floating stuff. This was one of these big storms, and there could be like tree trunks and all kinds of bad things that we're leaving early in the morning and you're cruising at night. You can you know, hurt yourself, particularly if you're fishing some of these creeks like Crab Meadow, Nesquag River, Porpoise Channel, over by Comset. You know, fishing, you don't know, you get like some little piece of retaining wall branch comes, knocks out your legs, next thing you know, you're in the wash. So keep your eyes peeled, get out there and fish, enjoy yourself, practice the buddy system. Courtesy is contagious. Until next week, I bid you all peace and tight lines.
From Oceanside, we have Captain Joey Leggio.
Hey Matt, what's going on, brother? All right, so report out of the Debs Inlet area. The blackfishing right now is kind of like hit or miss. You know, it's a little odd right now for this time of the year. It's definitely not where it should be. I'm guessing the water temps are still a little on the warm side. I fished both days on the weekend. One day we had 50 shorts on the local reef with 3 keepers. We also had some triggerfish, some sea bass, and some porgies, which kind of makes me think the water's a little on the warmer side too, especially seeing those triggerfish. The following day we went a little deeper to AB Reef, and it was worse actually. We had 40 shorts, only 1 keeper. We did troll home on our way home. We had a double header of stripers, losing 1 right away, and then Steve had a nice, like, between 40-45 pound bass, which was safely released. So that was cool for him to get his, his personal best. But other than that, I spoke to Matt Roth on the Beast. He actually had a decent day now on Sunday, and he was a little shallower, and he got a 3-man limit with fish to about 6 pounds. So again, it's hit or miss. Certain pieces might have a little more. Maybe the fish are still working their way out of the bays and settling on certain pieces. I don't know the answer. Blackfish is one of those things you can never figure out. One day it's one thing, and the next day it's something else. Who knows? The bay, though, seems to be producing pretty well. I see Bob has been posting a lot of pictures from Sea Road Charters. Get out there with jigs and Asian crabs, fishing the bridges, the pylons, rock piles that you might find around, any of the areas. Pylons, dock lines, bridges, whatever I can even think of. Even if you know any little hidden sunken boats out there that no one knows about, it seems like the bay is the place to be. He's been doing very well with the blackfish. You could see him on his Instagram posts and everything like that. Also, if you're doing a blackfish, I actually have a nice video that came out with a standoff type of rig where the hook actually comes out from the bottom and stands off. You could check that video out too on my YouTube page. It's a different style rig. It's definitely keeping the bait out. It actually flutters a little. It's a pretty good rig that's been working pretty well. You could check that out on my YouTube page, and maybe Matt, you could throw a post up there somewhere, something like that. But that's basically it. So I guess we'll have to wait for these temps to cool down a little. We have this major wind right now, so we'll see what that will bring, and who knows what the weekend's going to do for us right now. But other than that, that is my report, and I'm back to you, Matt. Thank you so much.
If you would like to be a part of our weekly video fishing forecast, we are looking for social media savvy anglers for hyperlocal reporting from around the New York Metro and Long Island area. So if you're a captain, tackle shop, or just an avid angler, contact Tim at libayrat@gmail.com. Remember to like our video, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and tap on the bell to be notified instantly when we post a new video on YouTube. And of course, to be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine to be part of the Dreamboat contest and Coastal Kayak Clash. Check out this video's description on YouTube for all the related links and index for specific reports. And please remember to support our correspondents by visiting their websites and social media pages. See you right here next week at thefisherman.com.
Steigercraft boats, built by people who fish our waters. Serious anglers choose Steigercraft for their 40 years of boat building experience right here in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic. Visit steigercraft.com for a dealer near you.